Hey there. So tonight is a brand partner focused call, and the theme is how to build your business or how to find peace and productivity in your business. Isn't that really the goal, right? To do it from a place of peace, but to also be productive, right? And we have to have both. We'll talk about that in the order here in a few minutes, but I want peace and productivity in my business. If we just have peace and no productivity, then we're super chill, but we never move the needle forward. And if we only have productivity and no peace, then we're going to burn out really quickly. So the goal is to see them be hand in hand. As a brand partner, there are 3 areas that we focus on. And I mentioned this, I've mentioned it several times. I'm going to keep doing it. The first one is bringing in new customers. The second is supporting my customers, our current customers. And the third one is launching brand partners. So bringing in new customers, supporting our current customers, and launching brand partners. And I want each of us, I'm going to do this as well. I want, as you've written those down, I want you to rate yourself on how effective you are or how well you do those 3 things on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is you never do it, you never think about it, out of sight, out of mind. 10 is you are Royal Crown Diamond styling on each of those areas, rock star. So 0 to 10 on how well you do bringing in new customers, supporting your current customers, and launching brand partners. Take a moment to do that. I'm going to do it myself as well. Okay, don't overthink it, but 0 to 10, and you don't have to share. Okay, we'll come back to that in a moment. So I hope you took a minute to rate how you're currently doing in those 3 areas. In our business, we're talking about building with peace and productivity. Peace has to come before the productivity, right? If I get them switched and I am being really productive without the peace, as I mentioned before, we get burnout when we flip the order. So we have to find peace first, and then we're productive. We work from that position. And we've been learning that in the Brand Partner Academy. And that's why the brand partner is so valuable, because they focus on both the mindset, the peace, the heart, as well as the to-dos and the strategies. Super effective. I was listening today to the coaching call that was recorded this past Monday in the Brand Partner Academy. And Leslie Burris said, I thought this was really profound and I loved it. I wrote it down. I'd love for you to write it down too. She said, when you see someone who is successful in their young living business, when you see someone who is successful in their young living business, don't ask them what they did. Instead, ask what thoughts they believed. When you see someone successful in their young living business, don't ask what they did. Instead, ask what thoughts they believed. It is a really powerful statement, and one I had never thought of, because it's true. When I see someone who has reached a rank or they have excelled at something, they had a huge enrollment month or whatever, I want to ask them, what did you do? How did you do it? Right? We're looking for the strategy. And instead, it should be, what thoughts were you believing about yourself and your business to make that happen? We all know the work that is required for this business, right? I told you, bring in new customers, support your current customers, launch brand partners. We all know that, but we don't see results in those areas because of our thoughts and because we haven't gotten the thoughts in the right frame of mind. So what we're going to do before I give you some tips about productivity is we're going to do a coaching model, everybody on their own. I'm going to share my screen because I have the coaching model here. And I want you to pick out of those 3 areas that we talked about, bringing in new customers, supporting your current customers, or launching brand partners. I want you to pick the one that had the lowest rank, the one that you had the lowest score on how you're doing. Okay. So for me, I have to give myself the lowest score for launching new brand partners. Okay. So I'm going to do a coaching worksheet on that. I don't want anyone on this call to pick number 2 of supporting your current customers, because that's the comfort zone for all of us. We all do a really good job at supporting our current customers, giving them product education, touching base with them, sending them information, doing emails, talking, following up with our current customers. That seems to be the comfort zone for a lot of us. If it truly is not your comfort zone and that was your lowest score, I'll give you permission to do that as a coaching call. But I see us, like they've already said yes, it's easy to love on them, right? So that one that we're probably is our highest score. So I want you to do a coaching worksheet on the lowest score out of those 3 primary activities. So here's a coaching call worksheet you're going to write on. The first thing is on the circumstance, it's going to be bringing in new customers or launching brand partners. Then what thoughts do you automatically have about that? How do you feel about that? And then try to work into an intentional positive thought that you can believe about the same thing. So take just a minute to work on a coaching worksheet. I'm going to do the same thing. You can maybe finish some of this model on your own. Hopefully this at least gets you started thinking about it and processing maybe what might be holding you back. Does anybody want to share maybe a thought you didn't realize you were having, or a thought that might be holding you back, or a feeling that you have about any of those areas? Vicky, yes, unmute yourself.
I guess I will, since nobody else is going. Okay, I did launching brand partners, and my thought is nobody will join me or they're not interested. My feelings, I've got a few. I'm kind of going between like intimidated or uneasy. I'm just not sure how to, even though in my mind I know how to approach it, just it still is intimidating to do that. My action, I guess, I'm not building, not getting any brand partners, and then my result is I'm not growing.
So I am along the same lines as you with that, in that it was launching new brand partners, and I had the thought no one would want to do this. No one wants this biz, or no one wants to do the work that is required. But for myself, and also for you, Vicky, with your thought, I want to dig into why. Why do we think that? Why do we think no one would want to? What is and I don't have an answer for myself on that yet, but I want to mull over it because I think there's a deeper thought underneath. Our first thought is no one would be interested. But why do we think that? Do you have any insight that comes to you?
I think it's just like my own fears, I think, of, just on the surface level without getting like, taking time to go deeper. I think it just, for me, revolves around probably just fear. Like I said before, I'm used to my 9 to 5, everything's, comfortable. It's just getting out, getting used to all the ways to do things, to speak in front of people, just all the things that, push me outside. I've come a long ways, but still have a long ways to go. So it's my own insecurities.
Yeah, and I boiled it down for me to a fear of rejection, right? Nobody wants it. And if I tell myself they don't want it, then I don't ask them and I can avoid potential rejection, right?
It's funny because I don't have a fear against them rejecting it. So I haven't quite figured out exactly what the fear is, because I'm fine if they don't want it. So that doesn't scare me. It's just something else that I haven't quite tapped into yet, but it's something of me, I know. I just don't know exactly what it is yet.
Exactly. Yes, I'm with you. So that's why an exercise like this is good. And I have held you accountable to get jump started on it, but it's something you're going to need to sit with maybe a little bit and keep asking yourself questions to dig deeper to know, why am I having that thought? What's at the root of that thought? And sometimes what's at the root of the thought comes when we identify the feeling that we're having. So sometimes if you're stuck on what your thought actually is, think about, for example, the circumstance, launching new brand partners, and then the thought, you might not know what your thought is, but your feeling is panic or overwhelm or inadequate. So you can identify the feeling and then, okay, what thoughts are causing me to feel that way? So that you can work through it in a backwards way as well. So then after we've really sat with that unintentional thought, we can find something that our brain can believe about the circumstance. And for me, this is as far as I got. The belief is, or the thought is, some do actually want this. There are people looking for this business opportunity. I contacted 2 of my friends this week and their current customers and asked them about the business. And they were both very positive about joining the Brand Partner Academy. So was 2 for 2 this week in reaching out. So why are we afraid, right? Some actually do want this, but you come up with a thought that your brain will believe. Does anybody else want to share an insight that you got from this? I know I didn't give you enough time to really go through it, but hopefully it will cause you to think about it over the next couple of days and reveal some aha moments. Okay, well, that was the peace part, how to build from a place of peace. We've got to work through our mind mess. The next little bit that I want to share with you in just a couple minutes that we have left is the productivity. So when we were together for our Reignite event, we talked about what if it's possible to be successful in this business and grow to silver in 1 hour a day, 6 days a week, consistently. What if that's possible? And then we kind of had the aha moment that that hour doesn't have to be all in one set time. It can be broken up throughout the day. So then we discussed working in 15-minute increments. And I thought that would be a fun topic to think about. What could we do to move our business forward to be productive in 15-minute increments? So the first thing that we could do in a 15-minute increment, I'm going to share some of them, but I want you to think of some as well and be prepared to share. We could do a coaching worksheet on one of our circumstances. That could be our work. And that's a mindset shift, at least for me, to realize that in doing a coaching worksheet about posting on social media or hosting a class or talking to a friend or launching a brand partner or whatever, the compensation plan, Gary Young, whatever could be holding us back, doing a coaching worksheet is the work. It is totally the work. So doing one of those is something that you could do in a 15-minute increment. I am getting a journal or a little binder that I can use that is just all my coaching worksheets that I sit down, it's there, it's ready to go, and it's going to be full of aha moments. I know that. So 15 minutes, you could do a coaching worksheet. In 15 minutes, you could call or text a current customer and just touch base to see how they're doing with their products. In 15 minutes, you could post some type of value added content on social media. If you only have 15 minutes, set the timer, put a post out or a story or a reels. You could get one done in 15 minutes. In fact, that is a really good tip to not feel overwhelmed. It's like, okay, I only have to work for 15 minutes right now. I'm going to set the timer on my phone for 15 minutes, and that's going to keep me focused. And when the 15 minutes is up, I can go do whatever else is on my list for a little bit. But having a timer for that 15 minutes is really super motivating. In 15 minutes, you could do a life steps task. You know, go to the task list and see if there are a couple of tasks that you could do that it's telling you that need to be done. In 15 minutes, you could do a life steps course. One of the courses that's available about business or sharing or all kinds of courses. Ninja Red, do a course for 15 minutes. Along those same lines, in a 15-minute increment, you could do a brand partner module and implement one thing from whatever you watched in that 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, you could formulate a simple email to send to someone or some group of people. It just has to be simple. It doesn't have to be fancy. Simple. In 15 minutes, you could schedule a class. Get it on the calendar. It's happening, whether it's a class in person or online or in an email or however you're doing it, one-on-one. Get a class scheduled in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, you could follow up from your latest class. That's totally doable. In 15 minutes, you could send a card with a sample to a prospect, a future member. In 15 minutes, you could add to your prospect list based on who you've been talking to recently and who you've been thinking of and praying for and praying about. And then the last one I have is in 15 minutes, you could ask a customer if they want to upgrade to brand partner. So hopefully those feel like very doable chunks. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but rinse and repeat those same things in the 15-minute increments that you have, and your business moves forward, because it's consistency plus time equals momentum. We tend to think I've got to do the big thing, the big one-time thing, and I'll have momentum. But momentum actually comes from consistent baby steps over time. Me and a friend are working to keep each other accountable on some weight goals that we have. And by the way, I've recently gotten some labs back, and I have some significant issues, mainly with hormones. So I am researching out the wazoo and working on a lot of that. And there's going to be a lot of education coming and classes coming about what I'm learning, because I'm really excited about it and the things that I'm learning. I cannot wait to see results in these areas. But so I'm pretty motivated right now to see some changes in my health and my lifestyle. So my friend and I, we are texting each other the baby step wins throughout the day. So one of the wins was I didn't have a piece of candy after my meals today. Woohoo! Yay, way to go. One of the wins for her was she said, I was hungry, and so I finished my cup of grapes. Awesome. One of the wins was that we texted was David and I walked around the neighborhood for 20 minutes. Okay, these are all really bite-sized things that we're doing, but it's the little bite-sized things that we do consistently over time that move the scale, right? It's not one day of fasting that'll move the scale, but it's not sustainable, right? It's the little decisions throughout the day. So these 15 minutes of being productive over time, you will see results and momentum. Hopefully that's an encouragement to you. I know it has been to me. Before we close out, does anybody have any other ideas of what you could do to be productive from a place of peace in a 15-minute increment? Unmute yourself if you do. Or do you have a favorite one that we mentioned that you think that's a good one? I want to do that one more. Okay. Did we cover it all? Suzanne, go ahead and unmute yourself.
There we go. I like to send out postcards with diffuser recipes periodically. Just say, thinking of you, and sign my name, and it goes to the mailbox.
That is so simple and yet such a loving gesture. Do you get them from oil supply store?
Yes. But I have seen where they have them on the Life Steps app now. I just haven't figured out how to do that one yet. So a lot of steps there.
Yeah, absolutely. Oil supply store is really simple and easy, and people love getting those in the mail. That's a great way.
To buy ink and the postcard stuff, it's like, just let them do it.
Yes, work smarter, not harder.
Well, and I think she suggested using Vistaprint even, but there's always a discount code on the internet for Vistaprint. So just Google it and you can find one.
Sure. Oh, that's a great idea of something to do in a 15-minute increment. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else have one that you have thought of? Or did we cover them all? Well, the goal of tonight was to just put in perspective the marriage of peace and productivity as we work on our Young Living businesses and we find success. So I'm hopeful that you saw some of that with the coaching worksheet we did, and the peace that brings as we deal with our mind mess, and then the 15-minute increments of productivity. Hey, if you've got a whole hour all in one chunk, wow, that's just a bonus. But don't let the fact that you don't have an hour be your excuse, right? David often says, don't let your excuse be your excuse. So I don't have an hour or whatever, that's fine. If you're, whatever, we have 5-minute increments, we have 15-minute increments, we have sitting at a stoplight kind of increments where we can, if we have a plan, we can execute. So you've got this. I'm excited for all of you. And I think that's all I have for the evening. So I hope this was helpful, and we will be in touch soon. Hopefully I'll see some of you Thursday night at our coffee chat night.